In the fall of 1978, a 19-year-old college student vanished from a quiet town in Quebec. And at first, some of the people around her did not seem to treat it like the beginning of a murder case. They treated it like she might come back, like maybe she had taken off, like maybe this was temporary. Maybe Theresa was just another young woman making a reckless decision. But 5 months later, after the winter snow began to melt, her body was found not far from where she had been living. And then suddenly, the story people thought they understood became something much colder, darker, and harder to explain. This case is haunting for a lot of reasons. Because it is unsolved, because Theresa was only 19 years old, because the gap between her disappearance and the discovery of her body feels like a season of silence. But maybe the most disturbing part is this. Sometimes a case is damaged not only by a person who committed the crime, but by the assumptions made in the first hours after it happened. This is the story of Theresa Allore and the girl they called a runaway. Theresa Allore was 19 years old in November of 1978. She was a college student at Champlain College, Lennoxville, in Quebec's eastern townships. Public summaries of the case say she lived in student lodgings in nearby Compton, a short drive south of the campus. She was young, away at school, and at the right age where life still feels like it's beginning to open up. And that matters because once a case becomes infamous, the person at the center of it can start to disappear behind the mystery. The name becomes shorthand. The face becomes an old photograph. The story becomes that cold case. But before Theresa was any of these things, she was just a teenager in college, a daughter, a student, a young woman who should have had decades in front of her. The official outline of this case is deceptively simple. Theresa disappeared on November 3rd, 1978. Months later, on April 13, 1979, her body was discovered in Compton. Her death was treated as suspicious and remains unsolved. But simple is not the same thing as clean, because around those facts, there is frustration, a lot of it. Frustration about how seriously the disappearance was taken, about the theories that followed, frustration about whether valuable time was lost before people fully understood what they were looking at. Those concerns have been raised repeatedly by Theresa's family and by later reporting on the case. On Friday, November 3rd, Theresa Allore disappeared from Champlain College area in Lennoxville. Public sources are consistent on that date, but many smaller details of her final movements are not firmly established in the broad public record, which is important to keep in mind. What is clear is that she vanished that night, and in the beginning there was no immediate explanation for where she had gone. And this is where cases like this can start to go wrong. Because when a young adult disappears, there is often a temptation, sometimes subtle, sometimes blunt, to explain it away. Maybe she left on her own. Maybe she needed space. Maybe she would turn up. Maybe this was drama, youth. This is not urgent. According to later summaries and advocacy around the case, officials and investigators initially suggested Theresa might be a runaway. Her family strongly challenged that framing, and over the course of the years, that early assumption became one of the central points of anger in this case. The word runaway can do a lot of damage, because it does not just describe a theory, it sets the tone. It tells people what kind of story they think they are in. And once people think they are in the wrong story, they start looking for the wrong things. That is an interpretation, but it is exactly the criticism that followed Theresa's case for decades. Then the case entered the worst kind of space. Not solved, not resolved, not even clearly understood. Just open. Winter came down over Quebec, and Theresa remained missing. Public accounts know that months passed between her disappearance in early November and the discovery of her body in April. That long gap matters, not only because it delayed answers, but because it changed the landscape itself. Snow covered the ground, water froze, fields disappeared under winter, and somewhere in that frozen silence, Theresa's body remained out there. That image is hard to shake, because for her family, the waiting would have its own rhythm. At first, maybe confusion, then fear, then hope that keeps shrinking, and then the awful possibility that something irreversible has already happened. And all the while, the season keeps moving forward as if nothing is wrong. There is something uniquely cruel about a disappearance that runs straight into winter. The weather does not just make searching harder, it seems to place the truth under glass, visible in theory, but untouchable in practice. On April 13th, 1979, after the spring thaw began, Theresa Allore's body was found in Compton by a muskrat trapper. Public summaries say she was discovered in a small body of water, roughly 1 kilometer from her dormitory residence. Reports cited in later summaries say she was only wearing her underwear. Her death was treated as suspicious. And that is the moment the Runaway story collapsed. Completely, irrevocably. Whatever anyone thought in November, by April, the case was something else entirely. Not a disappearance with room for a harmless explanation. Not a young woman blowing off her responsibilities. A dead 19-year-old found after months in the ground and water and cold. And yet, according to later summaries of the case, even after Theresa's body was found, investigators floated other explanations that her family found deeply troubling, including the possibility of a drug overdose or involvement by fellow students. Over time, those explanations became part of the larger criticism surrounding the investigation. Think about what it must have felt like for people who loved her. First, she is minimized as someone who probably left by choice. Then, after she is found dead, the story shifts again, not toward clarity, not towards justice, just into another explanation that, from the family's point of view, may have missed the real violence of what really happened to her. One of the reasons Theresa's case stays alive in Canadian true crime is because it never settled into a convincing official ending. It remained unfinished. And over time, that unfinished quality began drawing more scrutiny. In 2002, reporter Patricia Pearson wrote a National Post series that argued Theresa had been murdered and that her death might be linked to other unsolved cases in the region. Later, Theresa's brother John became one of the most visible advocates, pushing for answers, eventually creating the podcast Who Killed Theresa, and using it to revisit not only Theresa's death, but broader investigative failures and other unsolved crimes in Quebec. That is a striking thing in itself. A brother spends years trying to understand what happened to his sister, and in doing so, starts uncovering the possibility that her case was not an isolated tragedy at all. Maybe it was part of something bigger. Maybe part of a pattern. Maybe part of a stretch of violence that authorities failed to connect at the time. Those ideas were advocated by John and discussed by geographic profiler Kim Rossmo, but they remain theories rather than established official conclusions, tying a single offender to Theresa's death. And that is where the case changes shape. It stops being only a story about one night in 1978, and it becomes a story about what happens when a case is not fully confronted early, and what kind of truths can remain buried when that happens. Now, because the case is unsolved, the theories matter, but they need to be handled carefully. There is no definitive public answer to who killed Theresa, so what we are left with are possibilities, patterns, arguments, and the weight of what still has not been explained. Theory 1. Theresa was the victim of a single opportunistic attack. That is the most basic theory. A young woman disappears, is later found dead, and the killing is the work of one perpetrator acting in a single isolated event. That is plausible. It does not require a larger conspiracy or a connected series. It only requires that somewhere between campus and home, Theresa crossed paths with the wrong person. The problem is that the publicly known record does not provide the kind of clear evidence that would close the case around one obvious suspect. Theory 2. Theresa's murder may have been linked to other unsolved crimes in the eastern townships. This is one of the most discussed possibilities around the case. John Allore and others pointed to similarities between Theresa's death and other cases involving young women, including Manon Dubé and Louise Cameron. Geographic profiler Kim Rosmo supported the idea that police should investigate the deaths as possibly connected to a sexual predator active in the region in the late 1970s. But this remains a theory, not publicly proven series with an identified offender. That theory is chilling because it expands the tragedy. If true, it would mean Theresa was not only failed as an individual victim, she may have one of several women inside a pattern that was not recognized or stopped in time. Theory 3. The biggest failure in the case was not one missed clue, but an entire early mindset. This is a less whodunit theory and more of a investigative one. The idea is that once authorities decided Theresa might be a runaway and later entertained other explanations that did not center around homicide, the case lost valuable time, urgency, and focus. That criticism has followed the case for decades and is central to how her family and advocates have framed what went wrong. And honestly, that may be the hardest theory to hear, because it suggests the danger was not only the person who killed her, it was also the possibility that the system looked at a missing young woman and saw a stereotype before it saw a victim. And the longer you sit with this case, the more you feel that it is just not about a murder. It is about abandonment, institutional, emotional, and investigative abandonment. Not total abandonment. Clearly her family never stopped caring. But the kind that happens when urgency drains out of a case too early, and the people left behind have to spend years screaming into that vacuum. That framing is supported by the long record of advocacy surrounding Theresa's case. Theresa's brother John spent years trying to force the case back into public memory. His advocacy also helped push for structural changes, including pressure that contributed to the creation of the Sûreté du Quebec cold case unit in 2004, and later broader cold case attention in Montreal. He was widely remembered after his death in 2023 as a tireless advocate for victims. There is something both beautiful and devastating about that. Beautiful because someone refused to let Theresa's memory disappear completely into the past. Devastating because that kind of advocacy usually grows out of something no family should have to build in the first place. The feeling that if they do not keep pushing, nobody else will. And that means the case still lives in two timelines at once. In one timeline, Theresa is forever 19, still standing at the end of the night, still not yet reduced to a file, still a young woman with a future. In the other timeline, decades have already passed. Police units have changed. Journalists have revisited the facts. A brother turned grief into an investigation. And still, somehow, the oldest question in this case remains unanswered. What happened to Theresa? There are some cases that frighten you because of the violence, some because of the mystery, and some because they reveal how easily a person can be misread at the exact moment when being understood matters most. This is one of those cases. A 19-year-old disappeared. Winter covered the truth. Spring uncovered a body. And the years that followed never fully repaired what may have been broken in those first assumptions. That is an interpretation of the case's long-running criticism, not a formal legal finding. Theresa Allore was not a runaway story. She was a real girl in a real place, and something happened to her. Something final. Something hidden long enough for a season to pass. And maybe that is the line that stays with this case. By the time people stopped asking whether Theresa had left on her own, she had already been waiting in the cold for months.